For a change, our next story is not about Donald Trump. I'm kidding, of course. The man is a headline machine. Even if you want to, there is no escaping him. We've discussed his moves abroad. Now let's look at his domestic decisions. President Donald Trump is setting up a sovereign fund for the United States. He signed the executive order yesterday. It's now over to the Treasury and Commerce departments. They have 90 days, 90 days to come up with a plan. But what exactly are these funds? A sovereign fund is owned by countries. Your mutual fund or pension fund is operated by you, just one person. But the sovereign fund belongs to the whole country. It is money invested in different assets like stocks, real estate, bonds, and even football clubs. And where does this money come from? Usually it's a surplus. In Gulf countries, for example, oil revenue is huge, so they created sovereign funds to invest this extra money. In China, they have a trade surplus. They have billions in foreign exchange lying around. So they too created a sovereign fund. It's just like individual investors. When you have extra money, you will invest it. In total, there are 90 such funds in the world, again 90. They manage $8 trillion, which brings us to the United States of America. Let's look at two important questions here. One, where will the money come from? And two, why does Trump want it? The money part is a bit confusing. Like I said, sovereign funds need a surplus. But the Americans have been running a deficit for years. So where will the money come from? Listen to Trump's Commerce Secretary.
Within the next 12 months, we're going to monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet for the American people. We're going to put the assets to work, and I think it's going to be very exciting.
Let me simplify that for you. The U.S. government has a lot of assets lying around in land, in official buildings, even in roads and military items. Put together, this is worth $5.7 trillion. The plan is to raise money using these assets, perhaps by selling or taking loans against them. This money will likely make up the U.S. sovereign fund. And why does Trump need it? For so-called national endeavors, among which could be buying TikTok. Trump floated the idea yesterday. He said such a fund could be used to buy TikTok.
And as an example, TikTok, we're going to be doing something perhaps with TikTok, and perhaps not. If we make the right deal, we'll do it. Otherwise, we won't. But I have the right to do that, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund, whatever we make, or if we do a partnership with very wealthy people, a lot of options, but we could put that as an example in the fund.
It's a stretch, though. Trump's TikTok deadline ends in April. Can a sovereign fund be created in such a short time? The logical answer is no. But then again, this is not about logic. This is about politics. Until now, no one felt the need for a U.S. sovereign fund. A big reason for that was the private sector in America. There are so many investment firms operating in Wall Street. No other country can match it. 16 out of the 20 biggest fund managing firms are American. They have investments all over the world, so the U.S. government did not get involved. It wasn't seen as necessary. But Donald Trump thinks differently. Let me quote from his executive order. The United States can leverage such returns to promote fiscal sustainability, lessen the burden of taxes on American families and small businesses, establish long-term economic security, and promote U.S. economic and strategic leadership internationally. Well, these are sweeping goals for any fund, but there's bipartisan support for it. Joe Biden also explored this plan. He wanted the fund to invest in critical areas like supply chains and energy infrastructure. So who knows, maybe the Democrats will support Trump on this. And he needs that support because this plan is ambitious.
Okay.
In September, Trump said the U.S. fund should be $2 trillion. Let me put that number in perspective. The biggest sovereign fund in the world today belongs to Norway. It is worth $1.74 trillion. China is the second biggest with $1.33 trillion, but Donald Trump wants $2 trillion. Clearly, this is not just about wise investments. It is about projecting power. We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir in we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Pretty measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
We were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.